Okay, we are back to World of Barovia, just having lost the legendary vampire hunter Van Richten, and
And
him
half
being
my face.
and half your face. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about what that's gonna look like. You're all gonna find, like I said, some sort of creek and some rock formations that's easily defendable, and you're all gonna be able to make camp. Um, Starting with Raylan, why don't you go ahead and tell me what that looks like as you make camp?
So for me in particular, I have a move that I always fall back on
Hmm.
as I make camp,
Hmm.
which is a salt circle. When I pour a circle of salt on the ground and speak secret words protection, I create a warding salt circle, which functions like the alarm spell. Um, Basically, when something of my one of my chosen quarries crosses it, it
Mm.
alerts me. I can read the exact alarm spell out of the wizard playbook if you want that information.
No, I think fictionally it essentially you can't be ambushed. Like it lets
Right.
you know that
Correct.
something or
Yeah.
someone is coming. Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And it
Uh,
does consume one of my pouches of salt, but
okay. And how many pouches do you have?
I'm carrying 5.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And then also make a note that you have 2 uses of the exorcist kit as well.
Yes.
Very cool. How about you, Lothar? What does it look like as you make camp?
Well, I don't really make camp. I don't eat, I don't drink, and I don't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I
He just disappears.
yeah. So yeah, I'll I think I'll just find a highish kind of vantage point in our where we're at and just
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah, and you can essentially take watch the whole night, right? Like because
mhm,
you don't have to sleep, you don't have to rest, but you also don't gain
the benefits.
the benefit. Yeah. Now,
Um, I I do have as a the one vestige of my past life as a cleric,
mhm.
the cure light wounds spell. So I would, before Lothar disappears into whatever, I do want to lay hands on him and speak the words.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I'll allow that. First tell me, why do you think that
Yeah.
Harvanthi has taken her blessing away from you in every other way except for allowing you to do this?
Um, I think it's because cure light wounds. So Harvanti, right, is chaos and luck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and cure light wounds is just a very kind of lawful, like good. I'm thinking how to say that. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm getting at?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like it's also like cleric 101, right? Like every cleric of every deity. That's the first thing you learn. That's like day one cleric school is cure light wounds. Um,
Yeah. So it's almost not like so that would mean that Raylan
I'm.
doesn't feel like he is
It's like
ab-
it's a rote, right? For most of the spells I would cast, it would be, I would call upon Harvanti to imbue the power and do whatever. For this one, Cure Light Wounds is such a basic cleric spell that
Mhm.
it's just kind of a generic, elder gods, gods of the past and present, come with me, be with me, that type of thing.
Yeah, that was my other question. Is Draylen thinking that maybe there is another deity or another supernatural being that is maybe empowering him or imbuing him?
I don't. I mean, clearly somebody is.
Mm.
I think in his, kind of like when you break up with a girl and you're like,
Hmm.
well, someone liked my Facebook post. I wonder if it's her. And so I think that's kind of like he's like, someone's empowering this. I hope it's Harvanthi that's liking my Cure Light Wound spell. But you're not sure. You could be something else. But I think in his heart, he's hoping and wishful thinking is that it's Harvanthi.
Awesome.
He's open to it being someone else.
Interesting. Oh, I love that we're exploring that. That's really cool. Yeah. Lothar, as you are in a high point, keeping watch or beginning your watch, something happens that has not happened in a long time because you don't sleep, but and in fact you aren't asleep, and something that goes along too with your condition is like you really don't have any daydreams per se, but you're certainly having something between a daydream or maybe like what could be considered an actual dream if you could have one without sleeping, or a vision of some sort or kind. And here's what's going to happen. You are going to start remembering things from your, I guess you could call it your past life, or whatever life occupied this body before you became a Reaver. Let me ask you out of character, does that sound interesting to you?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I have a mechanical way that we can make that happen. So I'm going to type out and send out what is essentially a what is this called? It's called a compendium class, and it's not multi-classing per se. It gets, maybe you could call it like a specialty playbook, right? Like a playbook within a playbook. And what's going to happen is at the start of every session, you're going to roll plus con. And I don't know that we have enough time to do that now, but for next time, you're going to roll plus con. On a 10 plus, me, the GM, holds two points. On a 7 to 9, I only hold 1. I can spend one of these points during a session to do one of the following: to give you a fleeting memory from your past that will give you +1 or -1 forward to your next roll, and I get to choose. I can tell you something that, like some sort of desire that you would have from your past life, that you feel to compel to do or to say, and then if you choose to act on that impulse, then you get an extra XP. That's pretty cool. And when you roll a miss, I get to take over. It says take temporary control over you as your other self. So I get to dictate something that you do without your control, and it's only temporary. Is that something that sounds interesting to you?
Yeah.
Cool. The GM can also opt to give any of this hold to any other player during the course of the session. That's really cool. But yeah, I have an idea of sort of like exploring, this body that you're inhabiting. So yeah, awesome. You also get some extra moves. Whenever you discern realities, you can also tell everyone how the person or situation elicits a forgotten memory from whom you used to be, in an attempt to unravel the mystery of who or what you were before. And then the first time that you speak to someone earnestly about the events of you becoming a Reaver, or what is currently happening to your sense of self, you may ask them any one question in regards to that, and they have to answer truthfully, which I think will play really well with Raylen, because Raylen has the knowledge of reavers, right? And from the Great Reaver War, and he has supposedly read up on them. So I'm glad that you are down to explore this.
My knowledge is so good of reavers that I know that they're actually called reapers.
That's right. They're called reapers. I keep calling them reavers. I need to stop doing that.
Firefly and Serenity.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Space zombies are the reavers. Yeah. Okay, cool. I want to ask you a couple things.
Real quick on the cure light
Yeah.
wounds, do I need to roll for that, or does he get 8? It's D8. So does he heal for 8, or do I roll for what he heals for?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because I can just look it up.
Yeah. I think normally you would have to roll like the cleric move
It says, well, I have to roll the cast a spell move
to cast a spell move. Yeah.
to see what the effect is on me, but
Mm-hmm.
the spell casts any way you do it.
Okay. So we'll say that you still have that cast a spell move, but the only spell that you can cast once a day is Cure Light Wound.
Cure Light.
Okay. Cool.
Excuse me. How is it possible that I rolled Snake Eyes for the second time tonight?
Oh man. Well, you're still gonna be able to cast it, but I'm gonna make another hard move.
Gee, many Christmas. This is the suckiest suck that ever sucked.
In the depths of the land of Barovia.
And it only healed 3 hit points too. So.
Oh, is that right?
Whoa!
You're welcome, Lothar. Woo.
Oh boy!
Lothar, we'll say that you gained 1 soul from that last fight, though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I would have done
death sentence.
that
Yeah.
to him.
Yeah, so we'll say that you have 1. So you
You
can
can have
heal
the
another 1d6.
you can have the human guy that got his face ripped off.
I thought about doing it as thrall, just in case he died. For better.
Oh yeah, he dropped that immediately. So yeah, so deep in the land of Barovia, in the town of Barovia, the audience sees the sort of like the form of this older vampire, Strahd, which if you've played Curse of Strahd, that's what this whole thing is about. And not this story, but the overarching story, or not this game that we're playing, but the overarching story. And Strahd is going to go into, he's going to knock on the window of a young lady's home, and he's going to ask to be invited in. And she is going
Pizza
to
delivery.
and she is going to indeed invite him in, and he's going to come in, and there's going to be dialogue. Here's what has happened. This young lady.
Is this the hard move, or is this?
This is the hard move. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long hard move.
It's fine.
Oh man, I did not
into
mean
the
for
home
that.
of a young lady.
I did not mean for that to come out the way it did. Anywho, so they're going to have this dialogue, and here is essentially what the audience sees. This young lady was found by the burgomaster of the town of Barovia, essentially the mayor, near a body of water with no memories. The burgomaster has adopted her, and now that she's of age, he wants to marry her. Strahd lets her know that he is in fact, or that she is in fact, his lost love, Tatiana. That he doesn't understand how it is that she could be Tatiana. Tatiana has been dead for a long time. He suspects that she has somehow reincarnated into Tatiana, maybe. But she is more than happy to be taken away, and back to his castle. The scene is going to end with them embracing and Strahd biting into her neck and drawing her blood. And that's going to be a hard move. And that's going to be one of 3. And by the time I make the 3rd hard move, thusly, Tatiana will indeed be taken away to Strahd's castle. So yeah, so that's happening.
As part of the healing 3 hit points and just like being there with Lothar, can I ask him what he knows about the Misty Woods, and if he's familiar with anything about this thin veil? If you might know, for instance, the history of this place.
Ooh, Lothar. Why don't you, if you'd like, roll Spout Lore?
I love that move name, Spout Lore. Let's see. I don't know anything.
Mark
Roll 4.
Mark, go ahead and mark XP.
We desperately need Michael back.
You hear that, Michael? This is all your fault.
I'm gonna play this off as when you asked that while he has been in Barovia before, actually he's just been there. He was reapered into a recently deceased body that was already in Barovia. He doesn't have any actual experience with this crossing the veil thing.
Okay, cool. Can we also say that you have like very few memories of being in Barovia, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's very possible that maybe you reincarnated into someone from Barovia who died for a while. We don't know, but we'll discover that as we go along. So as you are inquiring about crossing over, Raylen, Lothar gives you that information, which he just did, and then Pietro would come in, and he too will give you some information. He lets you know about a comet that only passes through the realm every few dozen years. He doesn't know exactly how often it is. And sure enough, as he's explaining this to you, the sky is going to light up like the brightest. I don't know. I think Colorado has more sunlight than San Diego, but like the brightest Colorado day, and the sky is just going to look like it's on fire for like a good 6 minutes or so. And Pietro says, like, this is it. We have crossed over. The Lord of this land will not be able to see us during this time.
Not, or will now?
Will not. And so what Pietro tells you is that the Lord of the land of Barovia is the land, and he has a supernatural way of knowing everything that happens here. But you are able to cross over because of this event. It doesn't seem like you need to do anything. Pietro says just being here during this event is good enough to get us here without him knowing. So and then it will be dark. It will be dark again for 6 minutes. If
So
you
just-
want to get
just to
creative,
clarify here.
sure.
So without the comet thing, if we cross through the veil, he knows we come in.
Presumably, that's what Pietro tells you.
With the comet thing, presumably, we can cross it. But he doesn't know, now that we're through the veil, he can't track us within Barovia because he doesn't know we're there.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
And then
and-
with our camp, I'll snag one of Raylan's flags here, in terms of asking advice to make the place more defensible, as far as like where would the best place for me to be this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'll explain to him the salt circle, and be like, like I've got it covered from undead, things from the underground, things that we've seen have come up under the ground, like the salt circle, like it's like a pillar, right? Like, so it might be better if you find a perch somewhere, in a tree somewhere, because the only thing that's going to be able to get in are going to be like normal, not evil or undead creatures. So your wildlife, things of that nature. So you don't have to be like hyper vigilant. I mean,
Pietro says,
like
Master Raylan, what can I do to make this place more defensible?
Pietro, what can you do to make? I need you to go cut your arm and draw a little bit of blood, and then just stand outside the circle of salt. See what happens. I say, just kidding. I give him the ring.
Pietro like loses all the blood in his face at the thought of having to cut himself.
No, I say rather than work on defense, I hand him the ring and I say, why don't you study this and see what you can figure out about it?
Okay. He takes no time and he just, what do you think? Should he just put it on impulsively, or should he check some books?
You're the one who knows.
I think it's more interesting if he just puts it on in front of you guys, like immediately. He's like,
okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah,
I think the first thing we should do is find out the size.
See if it fits, type of thing. Yeah, he puts it on, and immediately after he puts it on, it almost looks like the face opens up a little bit, and you're going to see two what looks like fangs come out of each of the four sides of it, and like dig into his flesh. And he's going to like bite his hand so he doesn't scream and call things of the night down on you guys. This ring is going to be able to tell Pietro where to go now that you're, out of the Misty Woods and into Barovia proper. So,
but it's on, like it's not coming off.
It's not coming off. This thing has, yeah.
All right.
So if one of you guys had put it on, you guys would be taking like, D4 damage, to get through the woods. But now it's on Pietro. He's gonna take D4 damage. So
yeah, it works for me.
Yeah,
All
seems good.
So it looks like that ring is yours. So let's keep you safe, Pietro.
Mm-hmm.
Go sleep in the center of the circle.
Indeed. Okay. So
did we ever figure out what you said that Lothar had a vision from his past body life? Did I don't know if I zoned out. Did we find out what that was?
Yeah, no, we have not. Actually, Lothar, we're gonna say that you were privy to that which I described before about Strahd going into Tatiana's room. Since you've said in the fiction that you know about Barovia, you don't know if you were present for this or if you heard it in a story or if you yourself have experienced it. But yeah, it was very vivid in your mind.
Yeah, I'll definitely pass that along then.
Mm, okay.
That it's strange that it happened that this way because it doesn't. So I don't know if it's something with this body, something residual from this body or its past, or maybe even just because of where we are.
Right. Like the bond is stronger once we're in.
Now that you're back here, very cool. I'll say one more time that for this run of 5 sessions, actually, like, having Strahd as the big bad is beyond the scope of 5 sessions. Brett knows.
Yeah.
People play Curse of Strahd for like 18 months, something ridiculous. Oh, and Asa, you know that as well. But I do want to introduce him as part of the lore, right, of us playing. So yeah. Did you all want to do any more role playing before we end here?
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I guess Pietro didn't need to go cut himself because the ring did it for him. So he's a please.
Indeed, and there is going to be some blood that's like dripping out of his hand as he's like, oh.
I'm gonna take like a scrap of cloth of something and make it stop bleeding, and then throw it outside of the circle somewhere, like up in a tree, away from us.
Okay, sounds good. You can start a fire. There's like a small cave if you want to burn it. Throwing it out there might actually call.
That'll work. Yeah, if there's a fire, we'll burn it.
Yeah, you'll burn it. That's probably your character would know to do that. Yeah, but between the salt and Lothar, you being on watch, you guys are going and having this defensible position that you all found by rolling different realities. Nothing is going to come upon you in the night. Lothar, you will hear animal noises, and you're not particularly like well versed in like wild things, I guess, or like forest things. You don't strike me as the ranger type, but
I don't hear something and go, oh, well, that was a jaguar.
Exactly, yeah. But you do hear chittering, and you don't know if they are those man spider things or if it's another animal that would make such a noise. We'll just leave it as that.
Can I choose to, I guess, spout lore about Barovia regarding my facial scarring and wound? So I've, patched it up and put a poultice on it and done whatever I can do.
Sure.
Do I know enough about Barovia or to see if, because I assume for something this major, it is possible for a cleric to mend or heal it for the enough coin.
Sure.
Does Barovia have clerics and temples and things, or is it like straight evil? Like, would I be able to spout lore about that and see what I know about Barovia?
I think it's the sort of thing that like it's up to you. I can tell you the answer, or you can roll.
Yes, you can just tell me.
Okay. I think it's the sort of thing that you would know from books, that Barovia is a large country that has towns, that has churches, that has temples, that has religions. It just has been sundered from the rest of the world. Okay. And it's not clear that the denizens of Barovia know about that they are sundered from the rest of the world per se. There's a lot that says that it's not a good idea to tell them about that, in the same way that you wouldn't wake up a person that's sleepwalking. That could be dangerous. Okay. And they might not even know that there is a hierarchy in the undead, and that they might be serving a lord of darkness.
Blissful ignorance.
Yeah, there seems to be that. But yeah, now I will tell you, do you have potions?
I don't think I've got any, no.
Okay.
I'm not super worried about it. I mean, if a scar, it's a scar. But
yeah. It's a sort of thing that you can find like a cleric to heal, though. Yeah.
Never find that attractive dwarf lady.
That's into dwarves without beards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, find another one of
like a fetish for. Gold dwarves.
Find another one of the old ones. Yeah. Okay, cool. I think that's going to end the scene, if that's okay with you guys. Cool. And I think that will end our session as well. So let's do our end of session move. When you reach the end of a session, choose one of your flags and see if they hit. Or look at your flags and see if they hit. Raylen, seek my help in finding info or ask my advice in making a place defensible. So you can only make one of these hit per player per session. I mean, you can hit them as much as you want, but
Right.
you only
Only
gain
one
1
experience.
XP per player, yeah, per session. So yeah, so I think you get 1 XP from your flags hitting. And then Lothar, seek my help in finding info. I think you also get an XP for that. Oh, and ask me about the history of a place. Yeah, cool. And that's between players. That doesn't count with NPCs, FYI. And then let's look at drives. Reconnection, draw closer to rediscovering connection with Harvanti. I don't think you even had the opportunity to do that really this time, Raylan.
I mean, I'm physically closer to the sheath of Quetzal, so I can regain it. But yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay. And work towards freeing the land from the grip of the undead. Yeah, Lothar, I think you hit that. Having defeated at least one undead priest.
Yeah, at least we killed something.
Mm-hmm. You did. You guys killed the thing. A
It
dude.
was rough, but we did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dungeon World is a deadly game, and especially in the denizens of Barovia are particularly deadly. But yeah. We're not doing alignment. Okay, then answer these 3 questions as a group. Did we learn something new and important about the world? Yes.
I think so.
You learned about the comet. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy? Yes. Did we loot a memorable treasure?
We got the ring.
Yeah, that ring was pretty memorable. And you do have Van Richten's whip. That thing is legendary. I'm gonna have to stat that thing up. For each yes answer, everyone marks an XP. So we answered yes to 2 of them. Okay.
3.
So you all
We
3?
did all, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So you each get 3 XP on top of your flags and drives. And that's how that works. I think the last thing we have to do is 5 minutes of stars and wishes. Asa, let's start with you.
So this is my pin from earlier that I wanted to bring back, and this is more of in case, because I'm going to DM in the future. So I rolled the defense move and I rolled a 10 plus, which is a success with theoretically no conditions. Then you had the guy cast a spell and blind me. So I didn't really care in the course of the game, but is that normal? Like, because on a 10 plus, shouldn't it go off without a hitch fictionally?
Yeah. That's a good question. And we were in a funny situation because you were trying to defend.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's why I said, like, in the story, it didn't matter in the flow of the game, but it's more of a question. Like, do you as a GM often bring in on a 10 plus? Do you bring in secondary effects or?
I do on a 12 plus.
On 12 plus, though, the effect would be a boon or beneficial to us.
Right. Yeah, on a 10 plus, right. It's like you set out to do what you wanted to do. I think probably what I should have had you do was go ahead and spend 2 of those hold, and then we'll say that you stop them completely.
Right. Use the hold to stop.
Yeah. Looking back on it, that would have been the better adjudication. And that's the sort of thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. One thing though, too, with that though, is that have the attacks effect or damage So you said he was blinded, and like he didn't stay blind the very next turn. Like he could see enough still to attack.
Yeah, but I took the
just
-1.
with the -1.
Mhm.
So I mean, I guess I don't know how long that spell would have kept him blinded normally. So
Yeah, yeah. I think I was reading it maybe too by the letter, maybe not by the spirit of it, especially because it was such a weird setup.
Yeah, again, it's not.
Yeah,
It was really more of a curiosity in the moment, but I didn't want to derail
sure,
the flow of the game. So,
sure. I appreciate that. Sure.
but yeah, Stars and Wishes. Honestly, I really would love for all four of us to be healthy and happy and online at 9 a.m. so we can get this thing rolling.
Mhm.
Because I like the setup. I'm ready to go. But obviously, it's been a crazy couple weeks. So that's
Yeah,
my
beer
biggest
does.
wish. I think Stars. I star for Brett for picking a really cool character because I didn't realize he could be invisible and fly. So that's a pretty dope. And I just like the whole, we never have to stand guard because he's always going to be creeping over us. So that's pretty cool.
Mhm. Agreed. Awesome. Thank you for that, Asa. Brett, stars and wishes for you, my G.
um, same wish. Have all of us playing at once will be that'll be nice. Have a ranger in the party, so
Mhm.
a creepy forest noise. Be like, oh, that's just a raccoon. Whatever.
Yeah, he'll know. He'll know that it was chittering.
Start Asa for as always, just rolling with the unfortunate low rolls, and sometimes well, you brought up the face damage and stuff, and I mean, like, obviously, Ace is like, hey, where can I go to get this fixed? But you're not whiny about it, it's just like, hey, questioning if it's possible or not, which is nice. And then of course, stars to use Cisco for running stuff always, and coming up with all these interesting things like this memories thing from this body and stuff like that. I think that'll be interesting to explore.
Awesome. I'm excited for that. Asa?
One other thing, again, totally off topic, but it's on my mind, so I want to mention it. So, I want to brainstorm a custom move with you at some point for when I get my bond back with Harvanthi.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember, but as part of the role playing, I cast the bones to like
Yeah.
read. So I want to do like a read the bones move and figure out,
like a divination move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Let's do it. And I think there might be stuff like that out there on the internet too. So we
Probably.
can dig up for some ideas and then adjust as necessary. Awesome.
I don't really want to Google anything with the word bone in it, though. You never know
Hey-o.
what's going to come up.
Hey-o. Well, it is 12:01. Asa, you've gotten your wish. We are done. I'm going to stop the recording.